Hello there, it's Jen, and it is Friday, October 25th. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you're joining me live or you're watching the replay. And you might be watching the replay because this is a time that I don't normally go live. I'm 3 hours early than when I normally go live on Fridays. Because I have a meeting this afternoon that starts actually in an hour. So I thought I would come live with you first before the meeting because I didn't want to miss it because I missed last week because I wasn't feeling well. So thank you for all your well wishes. I'm fine now. So thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes this happens and I have to do that, but I try really hard to be live every Friday. So if you're there, and however you're watching, please let me know. That'd be great. And what I like to do is I always like to do a draw for the card that I made the week before. And I'll just show you this card here. This is the one I made 2 weeks before. This is a waterfall card. So it goes like this. How cute is that? And then it tucks back in. I've got an extra piece of paper there, so it takes a minute to tuck back in. So it's super cute. And I said that anyone who gets my kinetic cards class, I'll include the directions for this one as well. So kinetic cards, cards that move. So what I'll do is I'm just going to share the screen. And I'm going to, hi, Nicole. Sorry to digress there. I just saw Nicole pop on. I wasn't sure if you'd be joining me at this early hour. So thank you so much for joining me, Nicole. I always love to see you there. And be my sound checker person. Okay, so I've got anyone who commented, liked, or shared that post in here. So here we go. Let me just find the wheel thing. Here we go. Here it is. So this software automatically puts you all in there. And here we go. As long as you're Canadian and not a demonstrator, you can win. So let me just grab Lorraine. Lorraine, I am not sure about your status. I'm looking for a pen and I can't find a pen. How silly. Let me just grab one from my desk. Hold on. Here we go. So I will check, and if Lorraine meets the criteria, great. And if Lorraine does not, then I'll redraw for this. So I've got a couple things I want to show you today. So let me just stop that share, put that aside, and I'm going to jump right to the craft desk. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is a kit that I just got in, and I'm actually going to do a little video on it, but I thought I'd show it to you before I start the video so that you can watch for that. I think I'll put it on TikTok. So it's this. So let me just open this up. I've got ink pads on the desk there. So it is this. It is the Card Keeper box. So it comes with, there's a bunch of cards actually. So I'm not going to open up the whole thing right now. Actually, I'm not going to open up any of it because I'll do it on the video. But look just how cute that is already. It's a pretty sturdy, that must be the lid. And then you make the box, and there's little tabs in there, and then these little cards that you can make right away to put it in there. And then there, it looks like, let me see if I can see on the tabs here. Nope, you can't see there, but here, if I look really close, it looks like there's occasions that you put on there. So I think that's kind of cool. And I think this would be a great Christmas gift. Anyways, I just wanted to show you that because I just got it, and I'm gonna, like I said, do an extra video on that. So you'll see me putting it together. Okay, so what I'm gonna do today, hello to Gila too, is something that's been inspired by this plate that I have. So this is a beautiful plate that I got. It's from Loblaws. So, and it was last year's Loblaws. They had this whole collection of stuff. So it's really pretty designs on there with trees and all that. And I thought, oh, that's really just gorgeous. And I'd love to make a card like that. Actually, originally I thought I wanted to paint something like that, but I'm not that good. I'm just learning how to paint. So I thought, oh, I can use my stamps. That's the beauty of stamps, right? That they do the artwork for you. So I was looking in my collection. I'm not going to put that too far so we can look at it again after. And this is the one that I've come up with to use, Forever Forest. And I'll just show you what the dies look like too. I'm not using the dies. I'm just going to stamp today. But there's some beautiful dies that cut out all of the images here. So it cuts out the little moon and the single tree and the 5 small trees and the 3 big ones. And there's even extra stars, I think, that cut out as well. And then there's extra pieces with all these different die cuts and some mountains, and that looks like clouds and more mountains. So there's lots of cool things you could do with this. And it doesn't have to be a Christmas stamp set, but it totally could. So I'm going to kind of use that plate as inspiration and then make a bit of a Christmas card with this. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start with, I realize I should grab a piece of scrap paper here. Hold on. I work on my glass mat when I'm stamping myself because I can just wipe it off whenever I go over the edge. But this platform that where I do my lives, I'm just going to rip for a second. Hold on. Is actually paper. It looks like wood, but it's paper. And I just don't want to have to replace it too often. So I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper so I don't muck it up. Okay, so I'm going to grab this. So this is a piece of basic white. It is 5 1/4 by 4, which is kind of the standard. Nicole says she loves all the kits. Yeah, and they're on sale, right? That's the other thing this month. Hi, Vicki. And Nicole says, pretty nails. Oh, thank you. I had them done. They were supposed to be done last week, but sorry, digressing. Green, you can tell the colors I'm using today, but wasn't feeling well, so I had them done this week. And yeah, I just like to try fun designs. Okay, so I've got the big 3 trees from that stamp set. That's what I'm going to use as the base. And I thought I would start. Let me just bring the plate in again. There's these light colors in the background. I know there's a glare on there because of the lights, but I thought they kind of look like light pink. And then I noticed these purplies, and then it kind of gets progressively darker to green and like a green blue. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with this. So I got petal pink and I did stamp it, and I thought it's not quite the right pink. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to ink it up with petal pink, and then I'm going to come in with my bubble bath and add more pink, because the petal pink has got sort of a peachy tone to it. I've already got something on there. How did I do that? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go up quite high and stamp it. Okay, so now it's kind of a combination color, which is really pretty, actually. Quite like it. So then I'm going to actually just add more bubble bath without wiping it off, so there'll still be a little bit of residual color on there, and then I'm going to add another one up here. So I've got those pinky colors that were in the background, so I'm just going to close these up. So that was petal pink and bubble bath. And without re-inking, I'm going to grab my Highland Heather, which is going to be the purple that I'm going to use, and I'm going to ink this up again, and just going to move over just a little bit with this and stamp it. I'm pressing quite firmly because this is a very detailed stamp. Oh, so pretty. I love all these colored trees. I just think they're gorgeous. And then another one. We'll go just offset a little bit and up a little bit. Like so. Now I could re-stamp this again to give a lighter impression. The problem is because I've gone off my page a little bit, the ink won't be even. So if I was going to do that, I would ink this up. I'm going to do one. It's not on my original, so hopefully I'm not overdoing it here. We'll find out. And then stamp it here first to get it evenly off, and then add. So what if I add just a little bit right here? So it'll be a shade lighter. I do like her. Shade lighter. Let me hold that up there like that. Okay. All right. So again, without re-inking, I'm going to go into my next color, which is going to be Lost Lagoon. This is kind of a bluey green, and I thought it might be too blue, but next to these other colors, it actually looks greenish. So that's good. So I'm going to do one about there. So I'm kind of moving down the page as we go. Okay, so yeah, it kind of looks like it's definitely got a blue-green to it, right? Vila says, oh, the green. Yeah, pretty, eh? Okay, so I think this one, I want to sort of cut out a lot of that stuff in the background so it really just becomes background. Okay, and I think, do I want to stamp this one off? I think I'll wait and stamp the next one off. So again, without re-inking, I'm going to now go to Pretty Peacock, which is definitely a blue-green. It's a very nice color. I love this color. This is actually the color, I don't know if you saw the mat that I'm going to use, because I want this to be the predominant kind of color on here. So this one's going to get stamped more in the foreground of this. Oh, that was very close together. So I definitely will do a stamping off thing because I wanted it a little more offset. I think every time you do this, it's going to look a little different. Okay, so I'm going to do one stamp off here with this one. Sometimes I love cards that are just purely stamped. So let's do like that. See if we can get a bit of offset there. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and I'm going to grab in my shaded spruce, because I did notice that, let me pull this plate back in, that this right here was quite dark. There was like a little bit of dark, so I just wanted to make one kind of image a little bit darker. And I'll try to offset this even more. It's funny because my original, which I'll show you after, is more offset. So let's see here. I didn't do a good job before. So let's just go right over and down. Yeah, there we go. That's better. So we got that more of a bright green in the front, which is really coming out as the front piece. Okay, so that's good. That's the look I'm looking for. And then there's this little ground piece here. And I'm going to stick with my pretty peacock. And I'm going to kind of fill this in, stamping some on and off. Like this. See how quickly that can just sort of build a ground piece. So it looks like they're all part of the forest. How beautiful is that? So pretty. Okay, so while I've got the pretty peacock out, I'm also going to stamp a greeting, and this is from Greetings of the Season. This is an online exclusive stamp set, and what's nice is it has these dies that will cut out a lot of the greetings. So there's some nice shapes there. So I have pre-cut one of them. It's this nice oval. It's got a little hole in it too. And I'm going to stamp with the Season's Greetings. I just thought this was elegant. Just like the look of this card on there. Just like so. Okay, let me move that out of the way. I'm going to do the next thing here to this. So I think what I'll do is I'll show you my finished sample before I go much further so you can see the difference between what I'm about to do and what this looks like right now. So let me just pull this in here. So this is going to be mounted on this. And I've got a really thin border, which I'll talk about. And then I'm going to mount it on a piece of basic white. And I'm just going to, oh, Vila, I just realized when you said, oh, the green, because you're thinking about your ink pad. I hope you don't mind if I tell this story, but I know Vila's ink pad, she said it had come apart and she put it back together and she said her fingers were green by the time she was done. So congratulations on putting it back together. That is tricky to do, but I totally understand the green fingers. So this is going to go like that, okay? Something like that. And then this is going to go here. We'll put some ribbon in it. Yeah, so if that ever happens to you, sometimes if they're like, this is stiff because I don't use this color very often, but sometimes they'll come apart. So just grab another ink pad and look at it and you can see how the grooves go and all that, and you can snap it back in. Okay, so here's my finished card, and I will do this to show you. So this one, I have added some snow to it and I've embossed it. So what that is what the... so that is my version of it, and there is snow in the stamp set. Here it is here. So there it is with snow, ta-da, and there it is without the snow. We'll put the two side by side, and I'm going to do the snow to show you. So if you didn't want this to be a Christmas card, but just a nice birthday or thank you card, you could leave the snow off, which is what I like about these trees, because they could be any. So let's snow it up. And that's Villa's laughing. That's good. Okay, so let me just finish this off here. I'll bring back in my little scrap paper. Get these other ones out of the way. Nicole says, would this card take longer to dry because the ink? That's a good question. Look, I'm touching it right now. It's fine. These are water-based inks, and so they are dry pretty much immediately after you stamp them. So no, it would not. This ink here, though, is a craft ink. You can see it's different. And this is, it's a pigment ink. Stampin' Up! Only carries this white is the pigment. That's it. A pigment ink is longer drying. It's wetter. It's got a different texture on the pad. When you get the white, you'll get this refill with it. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you've inked up the pad really well before you use it. I'm just going to add a little bit of white here, right over top of my piece. How brave. Before you do, because it does soak right in there. So I usually just re-ink it a little bit. I already did. That's why I'm only putting a little bit at the top there before you use it. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp this, and I'm going to use it to emboss. That's the nice part about craft ink, is that it stays wet longer, so you can add embossing powder to it. So it's like Versamark, really. But what I like about this is it's a real white look that you get. Because with Versamark, if you've missed anywhere, then when you emboss it, you may not see it. Whereas this, it's still going to look white. Actually, you can probably see that. I could leave it just like that and dry it, and it would be beautiful. But by adding in the white powder, I'm really going to make those dots pop. So I've got my embossing tray here, and I'm just sprinkling that powder on here. I'm going to just close up my ink pad because those of you who know me know I'm a bit of a spaz, and I would hate to sprinkle powder all over that ink pad. So I'm just going to tap it off so that it all goes into the bottom. So you can already see how the snow is really showing up there. And normally when I emboss with something, I use my embossing buddy to get rid of any stray grains. But stray grains. I can't talk today. But I actually don't care if there's some here because it's going to look even more like snow. Okay, so I'm just going to put this aside for a second. Oh, by the way, you have time once the powder is on the embossed image, you have time to do another one if you want to, or to do this. So let's just do this and put it away. It's the time sensitive part is getting the powder on that wet ink before that wet ink dries. And that's one of the reasons we use a craft ink, because it is a longer drying, and so you have a little bit of time. So I'm just going to close that up. I use this little tray here for white, so I don't clean it any better than that. I just keep it with white because it's the one I use the most. Okay, so let's pull that aside. I've got my heat tool over here. It's going to be loud. I like to turn the tool on for a few minutes, let it heat up, and then emboss. So you're looking for the powder to go from this dull look to a shiny look. It's hard to tell with white. It's easier with gold or silver. So here we go. I'm going to give it a minute. So it's starting to melt the powder now. I can see that. I've got it tilted at an angle so I can see. And what you want to do is just heat it and then move on so you don't burn it. And turn it around. I'm just going to give it a good look over. I can see a few spots here that I missed in the middle. Actually, it looks like I missed a whole pile over here. You can really see it pop as it starts to melt. I just didn't put much snow on this side here. I think the gun wasn't hot enough, that's why it took a few minutes longer to do. There we go. It's coming along now. So they can see. How pretty is that? Nicole says she loves the snow. Marg says she loves the look. Cheryl says, I'm so pretty. I've burned part of a card once. Yeah, you learn from your mistake. Absolutely, you do. Now, what you can do is you can take your finger on here, and if it's powdery, it's actually still powdery in a couple spots. I think the gun was just not hot enough. Let me just go ahead and fix that. Okay, so I'm going to amend what I said to you, Nicole. I think one of the reasons it's not drying as quickly is because the paper was maybe a little bit wet, so it's just a little bit longer than normal. And you can see definitely the paper is kind of curling a little bit. And that's fine because we'll fix it when we attach it down. So I'm just going to brush here and make sure that we have everything that looks good. And I noticed there was a little bit of extra powder there on the ground, but that's awesome because it just looks like the snow is staying in the spot where there's less trees. It's like perfect. Okay, so let's continue on here building this card. Like I said, I did a really tight border on here just to make it look a little more elegant, sometimes I prefer an 1/8 of an inch border as opposed to the 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the dreaded liquid glue, at least dreaded for me, because I've got to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room. I always grab the one that doesn't work. Let's see. A little bit of wiggle room to get this on better. So here we go. If you use liquid glue, you probably laugh at my attempts here, but you know, sometimes you just need to use the right adhesive. Let's see, I'm such a spaz. I got it on my placemat. So because this is a tight border, I want to be able to wiggle this into place and get it lined up well. And you have that time with the liquid glue, whereas with the double-sided tape, it is when you put it down, it's there. I got a little bit of seepage here. Right there. Look at green glue. Luckily this dries clear. So do what I say, not what I do, right? Let's just wiggle that down a little bit more. And the same thing, this is a pretty tight border, so I'm going to do this. I just need to go in a little bit further so I don't have that seepage. And by the way, I store it like this, upside down, so it doesn't, the glue remains in the tip and doesn't get clogged and dried out. So again, I got a little bit of time here to wiggle this into place, like so. And once I have it exactly where I want it, I'm going to hold it for a second. And I think this is so pretty. I'll bring in the plate again after so you can see it, and I'll show you my first one. And like I said, every time you do this, it's going to be a little different. Okay, so I already have sticky fingers and green fingers now. That's a sign of a good crafting day. Okay, I'm going to bring in this iridescent ribbon. You probably saw my sample. I had this on here. I love this ribbon. I've used it on multiple projects. Depending on what you put with it, it's got either a green hue to it or a pink hue. So it's going to definitely pick up the green and the pink in this card. So I'm going to just put it through there. I'm going to tie a little knot like so. Get out my ribbon scissors and trim that off on an angle. Clean this one up too. And I'm going to use dimensionals to tack this down. Yeah, 2's good. And, well, you know, maybe 3 because I'm going to mail this to somebody. Just comment, like, or share, and you will be in on my draw next week to win this card. Okay, so here we go. And because it is a white card base, I don't need to put anything on the inside. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I think I could trim those off a little bit more. And of course, we need to add just a teeny bit of bling on this. I want the background of this card to be the standout. Now, if you are looking to make a lot of Christmas cards, this could be a good one because it's just stamping, no die cutting required. It could be quite fast, actually. I do all the pink layer, then all the purple layer, and so on. Okay, so I've got these here. I've used them before. They're adhesive back sequins trio. I love these sequins, and they happen to come in Pretty Peacock. So we're going to grab my Take a Pick tool, and I'm going to grab a big Pretty Peacock. Like I said, I can't talk today. And I need one of the white ones too. Let's see. Here's some white. I'm going to take a little tiny white. It also has that iridescent look to it, so it's nice to match the ribbon. Just adding that white one on top of the Pretty Peacock just to soften it a little bit. And let me hold that up for you to see. Check that out. How pretty is that? Jeannie says, gorgeous card. Cards by TLC said, those are one of my favorite embellishments. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to just bring in the original here so you can see that, again, no matter how you do this, it's always going to look a little bit different. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that. She also said, I'll have to try that. No problem. Thank you. Paulette says she loves the snow idea. Let's see, and Cheryl says, gorgeous. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. So let me just, again, hold up the card so you can see. And, oh, I was going to bring the plate in, too. Let me bring the plate in. This was my inspiration. So, you know, take inspiration from wherever you see it. So I know it's not exactly the same as my card, but, you know, the idea of the colors and the trees, I don't know how to get them both in frame there. So there's the plate. I actually like, too, that there's actually almost a white embossed image on that plate. I don't know if you can see it. Super pretty, but very faint in the background, which is what my pink is meant to represent there. Even crumb cake might be nice. And I thought of even using brushing a little bit of ink, but again, I wanted to keep it simple. Like if I wanted to produce multiples of these cards, it would be fairly simple to do that. Probably the biggest part is the embossing, but I would probably stamp, 5 at a time and emboss them. All at once, because like I said, once you get the powder on them, they can stand to sit for a few minutes. So, okay, guys. Oh, thank you so much. What a lovely thing you're saying there. I appreciate that. Okay, so let me pop back here. Thank you all for joining me today. And don't forget to comment, like, and share. And then you will be in my draw for next week to receive that card. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Hopefully you get some crafting time in. And I will see you all again next week. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.